mean, forget about it. The guilt is just insane if you don't, take
Yeah.
care of everybody else first. Take care of yourself. You're a selfish bitch. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely.
Yes.
We have to remind ourselves. Then you wonder why there's all these old Italian ladies that are like really angry because they never did anything for themselves.
Yes. Yes. The word guilt comes up in Design Your Mind to Be Kind a lot. And it was all of my books and my work are actually based on real things that happen in my life. I don't always say that, but I turn everything into a situation inside the book. But, guilt I use as an anchor. And, a boat can't sail towards the horizon, which is an abundance. The boat can sail with the anchor down. The same thing of if you're feeling guilt, if you're harboring a lot of guilt, you feel like you're chained to something. You feel like you have these imaginary chains on, and you don't, because they're fake. You put them on yourself. They're not really there, or they were placed on you by society or community or your family or your school or your Catholicism or whatever it may be. So these are these words, guilt, harmony, abundance, all of them, people throw those words all around, and I challenge anyone who's throwing those things around because they are layers deep worth of personal development, and that's where I start to have a little bit of fun.
I could just imagine. No wonder you have a podcast. We could have a TV show, a series with this. But wait, I want to hear a little bit more about these TEDx talks that you curated and put together, because what an amazing accomplishment. And how did you get motivated or inspired to do those?
Well, this is a great story for all women. I was a marketing consultant, and most of my clients at that point were not. I lived in Hoboken, New Jersey, a small town here, crossing New York City, and not everyone was. My clients were nationwide. I didn't have anyone in New Jersey at that point because word spread about who I was, and so there was a time where I wanted to work with local business owners. So I started hosting these EB&A coffee talks. It's so funny. And I would have 80 people standing out the door in coffee places or in bars. And I would give a 45-minute to an hour talk about social media, Facebook, Twitter, branding, marketing. And the Chamber of Commerce came to me and they said, Elizabeth, we want you to join. And I was like, I'm not joining your organization. It's old, it's stodgy. And they were like, well, everyone's going to your events instead of our events, so we have to do something. So I said to them, listen, you let me rebrand your organization, pay me to rebrand your website, make you a new logo, and then we'll talk. So at that time, I started doing that, and I launched the first Women in Business Council. I became the Woman in Business of the Year. And after I started hosting all of these great events locally, one of my friends said, it was actually my designer. He said, well, Elizabeth, why don't you do a TEDx event? Immediately within seconds, I applied. They have to accept you. You have to go out to TED. At that point in time, this is going back almost 15 years ago. At that point in time, we had to go to TED. So I went to TED twice. I met the greatest of minds, and I just started doing them myself. And every TEDx is different. I coached my own speakers because I know how to do that. And I'm a pretty big stickler. I am the kind communicator, but when you work with me, I'm a hard ass. And I'll put you in your place.
In a nice way.
I want everyone to show up with respect and integrity, from the audience to the speakers to the volunteers. Everyone works. Everyone just kind of runs the ship, and I give everyone a job, making every single person feel important. And I hosted 17 over the course of 7 or 8 years, and it was just such a fabulous experience, but it was also gratifying and a lot of work. It's a volunteer effort, and, I really, really enjoyed it. And I got to meet a lot of great speakers, and, I got to mentor and coach my mentor's daughter, Wayne Dyer. I coached Sky Dyer on her talk, and she sang at my stage. And I have plenty of stories of going beyond the ego to get into your confidence level to say, hey, would you speak at this event? Or when people say no, and it can really turn into a yes if you hound them enough in the right way.
Yeah, well, no means yes.
Yeah.
That
yeah,
is,
if you're persistent and creative, yes.
I'm just super impressed by that. I love those. Obviously, I use TED Talks a lot in class when I teach, and they're so pointed and just concise. And I'm sure you coached your guys that way too. So I love your work. I'm just so enamored by everything you're doing. I'm so glad we connected. One last question though, before we have to wrap up. And I asked all my guests, what would be the one thing if you could tell your younger self, AKA, the college girls on the rise advice? What would that be?
Stop stressing. Yeah, I think, as young women, we stress out so much, and we create this anxiety within ourselves if we're not good enough. The society tells us we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not pretty enough, we're not professional enough, we're not a good writer. All of those things stress us out, and your journey and your path will always be divine if you go with the flow and really ebb with it. So anytime something comes at you, instead of going back at it or going down, rise up instead, because stress is an unnecessary thing, and we don't understand it until we realize it really is unnecessary.
And if they're kind to themselves and, like you said, and love themselves and give themselves whatever they need, the stress, it's a way to bust stress, right? The yoga, the meditation, the Pilates, whatever it is, for whoever it is. I mean, those are all ways of dissipating that. So if
I could give them one tip that's free, they don't have to use their college money on it, is breath. And I'm not talking about the normal natural breath. I'm talking about conscious breath. When you exhale, that takes the level of stress down so much. I did a yoga this morning, and I woke up in, there's a lot of difficulties of life right now for so many of us. I woke up in tears. I let those tears fall onto the yoga mat, and by the end of the practice, they were gone, and I was okay, because I did so much breath work, and my work is based on 2 words: breathe and smile. If you can teach yourself to breathe in place of a reaction anytime that you feel anxious, you will certainly be giving yourself free self-love, and you don't have to pay for that. You don't have to pay a coach or a mentor for that. You have that on your own.
So true. Yoga is so liberating. I'm with you, sister. Mm-hmm. I do it during the day. Like if I get a little anxious, just do a 15-minute yoga. Now on Peloton, you can get like a 10-minute yoga even. Just a little relief. Oh, yeah. Amazing. All right. We have to wrap up, but I just want to make sure our listeners know the best way to get in touch with you if they want to reach out to you and hear more of your fabulousness.
Awesome. Well, they can just go right to thekindcommunicator.com. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, because you're young and you kind of do those things, I'm at the Kind Communicator on Instagram. So follow me.
Perfect. And what else should we be looking forward to down the pike with Miss the Queen of Kindness?
Well, I just recorded the audio version of Design Your Mind to Be Kind. So it will be released on August 22nd, which is on Wednesday. It's Earth Day.
So exciting.
And I will also release the Kind Communicator audio version. I did it all myself. I do everything myself. It's going to be a YouTube link. They're going to be priced accordingly. And then I'm also doing a course on the both books on the kindness innovation. I might call it, the self-empowerment project or something like that. But stay tuned for that. So just in case, again, we're working in a pandemic, and people don't have a lot of funds. So what I'm doing while I'm here is taking my expertise and making videos and doing worksheets to give everyone an opportunity to just say, okay, I'm just going to take the course, and if I need anything, I can get coached later on. So those are the cool things that I have going on right now that they can look forward to.
You got to love this girl, people. We got to wrap up, but you got to love this girl. She is walking the walk. She talks the talk, and she's walking the walk. She's walking in kindness. Love you, girl. Thanks for being on the show. We'll see you soon online. Everyone else, be inspired, be empowered. Don't forget to breathe like the Queen of Kindness said. And we will see you on the line. Get out there and slay those dragons.